This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. We interrupt your movie marathon to remind you to prioritize your mental health. That's why we wholeheartedly recommend BetterHelp. It's an online therapeutic resource that will assess your needs and match you with your own licensed professional therapist, all from the comfort of your home. To get started, head to betterhelp.com/CinemaSins. Answer a few questions about your state of mind, and before you know it, you'll be matched with a therapist who will work with you. Oh yeah, and you also get 10% off your first month when you click that link below. Now, on to the show. DC Comics. Just the movie title. Phew. For Riddlering. Also, this long take of Riddler scoping out Mayor Mitchell's house on Halloween tells you that you are about to experience a very long Halloween indeed. Here is an open skylight, and the police will later suggest the killer entered through an open skylight. I just want to know, who f***ing opens a skylight 30 feet above their living room? How do they do it? Do they have a super long tool on a stick? Do they go up on the roof? It's f***ing pouring rain here in a bit, so how fast can you close this bitch when the rain comes? Imagine the real estate agent. Yes, this is the most expensive penthouse in Gotham City. It's 6,000 square feet and comes with a skylight you can choose to occasionally open about 6 inches for when you want to breeze, but only when it's 30 feet above your head where it does you no good. Honestly, the skylight is the biggest f***ing sin in the entire movie so far. What? I know we're less than 2 minutes in, but this is a big f***ing problem. Oh, f*** off. Look at these worthless fucking lamps. I joke a lot about movie scenes having too many lamps, but this is different. These lamps are only on for color purposes. They are lighting nothing. The TV is doing 95% of the lighting lifting in this room right now. Those glasses may be a prescription, and they definitely somehow make this character creepier, but they are bad for stealth. There's so much light reflecting off of them, I'm not sure how the mayor didn't see him peripherally. Contacts do exist. Look, you go through all this trouble to make sure you don't leave hair samples or DNA in this place, but then you scream like a maniac when you go in for the kill? There is a security detail downstairs, right? Maybe somebody outside the door? Who in the f*** doesn't hear this? And why doesn't the mayor of such a huge crime-riddled city have security cameras all over the interior and exterior of his home?
Thursday, October 31st.
Batman's log.
It's a big city. I can't be everywhere.
Sounds like you're just making excuses to be a shitty Batman. Movie steals the Salt Bay thugs punching people on video thing from Glass. We can't play it, but here's a sin-off for that main Batman theme. Michael Giacchino rules. After hearing Batman narrate about the signal being a warning, we see one criminal that spots the light and backs away from an alley. There's no indication the bat signal is stopping tons of crime in Gotham. Is Batman trying to make himself seem more important in his own diary because he knows that asshole Alfred is sneaking peeks at it? Batman takes his sweet-ass time walking to the gang of kids about to beat up this innocent man because it's more important to build suspense than to rescue people. Yet another place the 3.5-hour-long movie indulged itself.
The hell are you supposed to be?
Batman's been running around for 2 years, long enough to have a bat signal that makes criminals cower in fear. Then how does this guy not know who he is?
Oh.
Dude, Batman just made it past 80 other cops and was following behind Gordon the whole time. What makes you think you're the last defense here when he was clearly invited? There's a lot of blood, and dude says it's from the victim's hand, but then he shows us a super clean hand, man. Sure, there's a thumb missing, but I don't see any evidence of massive blood loss.
He was alive when it was cut off. Ecchymosis.
Security detail downstairs said the family was out trick-or-treating.
And they said that most of the security detail downstairs was also trick-or-treating because they didn't see shit.
I asked him to come, Pete.
Yeah, but why? Couldn't you just share the evidence with Batman after you checked out the crime scene? Why put yourself on the line inviting a guy dressed as a bat here when you don't have to do that? Yeah, there's an envelope addressed to Batman, but wouldn't you avoid inviting him here and ask him about it somewhere private?
Yeah, kid found him.
And left one bloody footprint? You're telling me this kid came home from trick-or-treating, immediately took off his shoes, ran into his father's office, discovered the body, took one step in blood, and then hopscotched somewhere to leave one print?
Murder, robberies, assault.
Little Caesars.
Maybe it's beyond saving, but I have to try. Push myself.
You just said earlier that it's a big city and you can't be everywhere, so maybe you should try to get some help. Or use your incredible money and resources to research what is the root of the problem before going out and beating ass every night. This video Bruce is scrubbing through, caught by the camera in his contacts. Why so shittious? Yeah, maybe contact cameras aren't up to snuff or something, but why does it look like Buster Keaton's gonna show up at any minute in this footage?
If this continues, it won't be long before you've nothing left.
I don't care about that.
Well, you f***ing should, because you 100% cannot keep being Batman if there's no money. Goddamn.
You're not my father.
Guy tells his father figure that he's not his father cliche. Why is the car covered? Nothing else in here is covered. If you aren't worried about your electronics gathering dust, why are you worried about it with your car? Okay, and I'm sorry to do this, but the screenshot of the iCamera video where Bruce scrawled in the he lies still answers to this part of the cipher, not the same as the one we saw earlier, which means more than one version of this prop was made and they weren't compared, which is odd.
But that would leave most of the cipher unsolved. I don't see how that's gonna...
It's kind of weird that the program Bruce is using to decipher this removes all the symbols in a dramatic, suspenseful way, instead of just removing them immediately. Without a forensics team nearby, Batman pulls a piece of evidence out of another piece of evidence.
Thumb drive.
I love how Bruce solved the cipher and how it led him here, but it really does seem like during a normal investigation, detectives should have been able to scour the area and find this drive all by themselves. Jesus, could you guys not give this to a computer expert before plugging it into your own laptop? Batman should know not to stick a dirty drive into an eager laptop. Why didn't he think of this?
It's encrypted. Try this.
Does Batman have to come up with every solution? Can't Gordon figure out on his own just once?
Who is she? No idea.
So we should definitely visit the Iceberg Lounge and beat tons of ass to get in there without a warrant, instead of just putting this photo into facial recognition software, or, simply asking people who this woman might be. No matter where Batman goes, it's always raining. Oh, so it's that kind of movie, is it? We've got Angel Salvador and Bullseye in this scene with vampire bat Edward Cullen. This definitely beats my fanfiction. Luckily for Batman, both Selina and Oz, people who work inside the club, just happen to be outside of the club to be photographed, and Selina is wearing the same boots she wore in the photo. I love how in movies, when they're tailing someone, they just get right behind them and count on folks being oblivious. But when I'm out there driving, if a vehicle is directly behind me for more than 3 minutes, I generally assume I'm about to get murdered. He's still got the eyeliner on, but is clearly changed out of the batsuit, so I guess he's carrying that thing around everywhere he goes at night, and that has got to be heavy. And I want to know if he strips down to skivvies or if the batsuit goes over the street clothes. Batman continues to get lucky by scoping out Selina's apartment and finding the windows completely unencumbered by curtains or blinds. It's like the Batman lucked into the same apartment from Rear Window. This makes no sense to me. She called a roommate on the way home, reassuring her that they would leave immediately, because said roommate is now on the news for being the dead mayor's secret girlfriend. But after coming home and briefly comforting the roommate, Selina is now changed into Catwoman garb and is leaving her roommate alone. I realize she's going to get the girl's passport, but she knows Gotham well enough to know she's leaving her roommate to die. Why does Batman follow Catwoman when Annika is the person he's looking for? Because he goes to chase some cattail, the imminently in danger Annika is now in her apartment all alone and, of course, is going to get killed. Okay, if he's going to weave between traffic in the exact same pattern as her and 30 feet behind her, she will definitely know she's being followed. I guess maybe that's his point here, but so far Batman is not great at discreetly tailing bad guys. Seriously, about 80% of the crimes in Batman films could be stopped by simply removing the skylight out of a building. It would solve Batman's crime problem he worries about in his diary. Also, what's even worse is that it's the mayor's house once again, the place where he just got murdered. And of course, there's no one around to see this. Honest question, if you can just tug your rappel rope loose, how did it hold your weight as you descended?
She's trying to get the hell out of here, and this son of a bitch stole her passport.
Sounds like a convoluted way to get Batman to chase after you, instead of the person he should have stayed around for. It would have made more sense if you were the mayor's mistress and I never even heard of a roommate named Annika.
Took my phone.
You didn't take your phone with you?
The video is very disturbing.
Not as disturbing as the dirty f***ing cat food can littered countertop in this shot.
And the truth about our city will finally be unmasked.
Hey Gordon, doesn't that sound like Paul Dano? Should we cross-reference this with There Will Be Blood to be sure? I think the Riddler's Paul Dano. Batman once again figured something out that any child could, but none of Gotham's detectives can for some reason. Also, nobody ever thinks these things could be booby-trapped and go straight in without hesitation. Riddler spent 5 times as much effort on this fake greeting card as he did on his costume. This card has raised lettering! Also, if Riddler is able to make raised lettering cards this good, those skills should be traceable. There's a scrapbooking club member somewhere that recognizes this type of raised lettering.
What the hell is that? Bring him into the light. Find the rat. I don't know.
This movie is 4 hours long, and they just had Gordon recite aloud the text of the card Batman just read.
I need to see in there. This hunting ground.
I don't know why Batman can't just go undercover as Bruce Wayne to this nightclub that apparently brings in all the super important people of Gotham. He'd be able to recognize anyone that might have information in this case since everybody is so high profile. Why put someone innocent in harm's way? Okay, so it's not quite an apple sin, but Selina is constantly chewing gum in this movie. This is a little actor trick to make it seem like they're super cool, but it's goddamn annoying.
Kenzie. William.
Your computer can do facial recognition on this guy, but you can't get one from a photograph of a woman who has an official passport?
Are you sure no one can see these things in my eyes?
Don't worry. I'm watching you.
That doesn't answer the question. Besides, how fast do you think you can get into that club if something goes sideways?
That's the DA.
In a past life, I knew his wife. She was the sister of the guy who was in that cowboy movie with the Joker, directed by the dude who did Hulk.
There was a rat. We had an informant. We had big-time information on Salvatore Maroni.
Look, even if Batman has some sort of background noise canceling shit on this microphone, wouldn't Gil raise his voice like he's in a nightclub with loud music? This recording is way too good. Also, I know he's on drugs and he likes Selina, but for f***'s sake, is he taking truth serum? Does he think the rat story gives him a shot at her? So, since we know the Riddler is in the backseat of this car, how did he get inside without the alarm going off? I guess he could have stolen Gil's keys at one point and made a copy with some specialized equipment, but honestly, I don't think the movie has an answer. It's just in the screenplay, and that's that. This horn honking while he duct tapes this victim is effectively creepy for the viewer, but in the reality of the film, he's only drawing undue attention to himself by allowing this horn to continue honking.
Who knows how many people it touches? Politicians, police, the courts.
Little Caesars.
You didn't tell me you had a relationship with him.
I don't have a relationship.
Why does Batman need to rewind this dialogue over and over and over? There's nothing you can possibly tell from it other than what she says. There's not an elevated train here to catch Richard Kimball. If I had a hypothesis, it would be that Batman is jerking off to the idea that Selina isn't in a relationship and he just wants to hear it over and over. The parking situation here is strange. He's waved here and told to park here, and then dude walks away. A bit later, someone comes up and says, "Sir," and I guess takes Bruce's keys, and Bruce gives him money or his keys, but then that guy walks in the direction opposite Bruce's car. I can't play it for you, but Ave Maria is playing again. This movie is obsessed with Ave Maria and Something in the Way, and those are both fine songs, but in a 5-hour movie, maybe you can have time for a third song, like Tub Thumping, or I Want Your Sex.
I'm gonna go pay my respects. Will you wait for me? I want to continue this.
Why not just continue until you're done talking and then go pay your respects? The memorial service hasn't even started yet. I know we want to watch Bruce see himself and the little boy some more, but it's weird she cuts off this super important conversation right when she does. The idea that this car got through here is pretty f***ing comical. There was a barricade and several cars blocking an almost impossible stairway leading up to this place. How the f*** did this happen?
There's a bomb around his neck!
And yet, most everybody here just stays. The cops don't even make an attempt to evacuate this place until Gordon suddenly gets the bright idea much later.
Hey, Chief, you better take a look at this.
You better come take a look at this cliche. Wouldn't this call and broadcast on Twitch Talk make him a lot easier to trace and find? There's a clear computer screen being reflected in Riddler's glasses, but who wants to make a bet that Gotham's finest don't look into that at all?
So much bigger than you could ever imagine. It's the whole system.
I already imagined and assumed it was the whole system. Maybe even higher up than that. You don't know me, Coulson. You have no idea what I'm capable of imagining. Look, Batman doesn't have armor over his eyes or mouth. He's literally standing right there, and yet the explosion merely knocks him back a few yards and knocks him out. He has no burns or anything once he wakes up. Also, Batman passes out from an explosion and the cops bring him to the police station? I mean, sure, maybe the top cops are angry and want to question Batman, but in the non-movie world, even criminals apprehended on the scene of a crime are taken to the hospital if they are injured, not the police station. This is a cool scene, and I like it too, but it makes no sense.
You're gonna put yourself on the line for this scumbag too?
You're the chief. You're pissed off at Batman. Why the f*** are you letting Gordon put himself on the line? What in the incredible f***ing cops shooting at Batman put tons of civilians in danger? Also, this has to be one of the tallest, skinniest police stations in all of history. There's a reason most police stations aren't skyscrapers, and it's because during emergencies, 20 flights of stairs or elevator rides are incredibly inconvenient. So after punching Gordon and fleeing the entire police force, Batman goes to the abandoned building and lights the bat signal that everyone knows means Batman? Are you telling me the cops don't know where this signal is located? Only Gordon does? Because that's some galactic levels of bullshit. All those angry cops should see this signal and go immediately here and realize that Gordon is still working with Batman and get even angrier. Hell, one of them should have followed f***ing Gordon as soon as he left the station.
It means a rat with wings, like a stool pigeon.
A penguin's got wings, too.
The Riddler left this riddle way too open for interpretation. I thought the idea was to expose the people involved in the corruption, not make people guess multiple correct answers. In fact, the more and more I think about Riddler's plan and what he hopes to achieve with it, the less sense it makes.
This just got complicated.
He says this, instead of another vigilante just showed up and is probably going to start taking out bad guys. Look, if Batman can disappear like this in front of a bunch of people who are looking directly at this car and shooting at it, then he could easily just go up behind them and start beating the f*** out of these dudes rather than running to the car. But the movie says it's time to bring in the Batmobile, so it must, and it's awesome, but seriously, if the guy's got bulletproof armor and 100% stealth rating, he didn't even need the car. Driving against 5 lanes of traffic at night in the rain. I'm shocked Penguin doesn't die here with Batman having nothing to do with it. I will say, though, this is an absolutely amazing car chase. even though it didn't need to be in here. I'm removing a sin because this low-angle camera work makes this one of the best we've seen in a long time. We've slowed the footage here so you can process how the universe utterly gifted Batman a sudden ramp here. Ramp Ex Machina. I hate it. At least in Dark Knight Rises, Batman shot a missile to detach the coupling and create the truck ramp. I guess Batman runs into Oz here hoping that he doesn't die? This is a major witness to a crime he's trying to solve, and he just leaves it up to chance? Anyway, Oz survives this.
It's like the worst Spanish I ever heard.
Honestly, this is probably the real biggest sin of the movie, that only Penguin recognizes the bad male-female pronoun in the Spanish. Gordon is a high-ranking detective, and Batman is Batman, and they both missed this. F*** off.
You think he made a mistake? He hasn't made mistakes.
It's fine Batman didn't solve this right away, because he's essentially new to this, but the incorrect Spanish was known from the moment Alfred solved the cipher. Why wasn't Batman at least thinking about why there was a mistake? I just want to pause for a moment and celebrate the field laptop here that probably belongs to Batman, but might belong to Gordon, but definitely has all the arrow keys. Wow, Bruce Wayne / Batman is so vain he actually went to the old orphanage instead of realizing this was about him. I guess Carly Simon would say he acted the opposite of vain here, but still, he's only at this orphanage right now because he's stupidly cocky, thinking that Bruce Wayne himself could never be a target.
Dropheads.
That's droppist. I guess this projector's been here playing this Thomas Wayne footage on loop for some time, or Riddler turned it on remotely or something. Doesn't matter. I'm just amazed those junkies next door didn't find this thing and sell it for drugs. Here is the biggest cheat in all of 2022 cinema so far. The editing suggests he has a shot at getting home or calling home in time to stop Alfred from being a bomb victim, when in reality, the movie eventually shows you that Alfred had been injured long before Batman's frantic drive home, so movie is a dick. Alfred opens the package with the obvious Riddler font on it. I mean, run it through an x-ray or some dude. Weren't you military? God damn. And once Alfred sees for the Batman, he should run the fuck away.
I've been trying to reach you.
Like, how? Did Batman have his phone on mute?
We've sedated him. We just have to hope he stabilizes.
Nothing about the Riddler's attempt on Bruce Wayne makes any sense. Why did he feel the need to kill Mitchell himself and kidnap Gil, but do nothing of the sort with Bruce Wayne? Like, the Bruce he thinks he knows might not have even opened that package and just sent it to the FBI. Bruce desecrates an entire room's floor simply because he's never heard of a bulletin board.
I want to know why a guy like Falcone would owe you anything.
Because he's my father!
Yeah, dun dun dun, and all that, but why did this have to be such a big secret anyway? Also, does everyone in this movie have daddy issues?
Who are you over there?
Scub.
Catwoman is attracted to Batman here for no reason at all. I suppose it's just natural attraction, but given the stakes, it feels more scripted than it does natural. GC1 News continues to let the Riddler say whatever the f*** he wants on their airwaves.
Wayne turned to longtime secret associate Carmine Falcone and had him murdered.
The Riddler is doing a very good Sins video here of Bruce Wayne's father, but there are no dings after each observation, no counter or timer, and the narration is a little uneven. I'm sorry. I'm super sorry, but how the fuck does he get that Batmobile in and out of that elevated slot without running over his standing computer desk? Tell me he has floors that can move and dip, and I will give you points for creativity while also giving you the middle finger. We saw how he got back in here on the motorcycle, and it involved stairs. How does he get the car out of here? And if he has a separate entrance for the car, why not use that entrance for the motorcycle as well? Bruce goes to visit Carmine, and the movie feels like it's almost over, but it still has a whole fucking hour left. You can't just say, I'm gonna go visit Carmine, and we star wipe to the Carmine conversation. We've got to see this whole walk into the club. Jesus Christ!
But he never thought Falcone would kill that man.
Now that I've heard the truth about Thomas Wayne and how he hired a gangster to help him with a nosy reporter, I've decided that I'd have liked it better if Bruce already knew this shit, owned it, and became Batman anyway. Basically what the whole Falcone-Alfred section of the movie does is tell Bruce your dad was a tiny bit less perfect than you thought. Now let's get back to the Riddler business.
I'm telling you, goddammit, she called me!
Now the movie relives Batman and Selina's failure during that scene where Batman inexplicably chased after her and she inexplicably left her phone behind, complete with a plot convenience voice message that confirms Falcone as the villain that set Riddler's plan in motion. When I hear this phone call, all I hear is an hour of the movie's runtime that could have melted away.
Cross that line. You'll become just like him.
Revenge shaming. Selina does this obvious threatening move so slowly, I can't believe Batman doesn't stop her after all that talk about not killing the dirty cop. Kinda crazy that this underground club with all the secrets doesn't have a peephole of some sort to see who's out there before the door gets open, or a camera feeding to a monitor they can look at, complete with an intercom. Bruce goes to a restricted area where the door is just unlocked?
I really think you're gonna want to see this.
This is like a you're gonna want to come take a look at this cliche wrapped inside a mini Ex Machina so that Selina doesn't kill Falcone herself and it saves her soul or something. It's cool that all this plays out in darkness, but Was that really necessary? Batman already infiltrated the club downstairs earlier and beat everyone's asses with lights strobing and all that stuff. Just seems extra showy here is all, especially in a 7-hour movie. Some folks want to know how all these bullets ricochet, but I just want to laugh at the futility of those bullets fired upon the Batman.
I'll spray paint your ass!
Oz tries this in front of like a billion cops.
Bring him into the light, and you'll find where I'm at.
How the could this have been what the Riddler meant by bring him into the light? How could he have known that this is how Falcone would have been dealt with? The bring him into the light clue is so innocuous and stupid that it could only be written for a movie that needs the hero to find the villain somehow when there aren't any other leads. Also, can we rewind a bit? When Gordon and Batman discovered those photos from the thumb drive, why didn't anyone think, I wonder where those pictures were taken, and start sniffing around the apartments across the street? Anyway, we've already figured out that the detectives at Gotham are f***ing disaster, so I don't know why we expected anything more.
He's been here this whole time.
Gordon asks this in an incredulous manner, as if Riddler being here this whole time is somehow weirder than the fact that nobody bothered to check this place. I'm just gonna say it. This movie has too much in common with The Dark Knight. The filming yourself for the news was one thing, but now we have the villain getting caught intentionally. I'm not saying two movies can't have those two things in common or anything, but damn!
Police! Hands up!
But also, they have one cop who said there was one witness who saw someone come down the fire escape after the shooting and go into the diner. And from that point on, the cops act with absolute certainty that this is the guy. And yeah, he is, but I'm not sure you can arrest someone on the spot because of one witness's word. Love how the cops thought Batman was in on it, and were even wary of him before the Riddler killings. And since all that, nothing's really changed between Batman and the cops, except that Batman got to and searched Riddler's apartment before they did, which doesn't look shady at all. And now they're all just totally chill around the Batman. He's one of the boys in blue now. He renewed his license in 2012 at age 25. That's a common age to have to renew your license, but they renewed it for 17 more years? The f*** is up with that time length? So he drew a question mark on the coffee foam, and that's creepy? This is the most cartoonish thing in this whole movie. And yeah, I guess dude loves question marks, but the score gets all freaky right here, like I'm supposed to be disturbed by the fact that he drew a question mark in the foam, and I am not.
He's got thousands. He scrawled all over 'em. Rambling ciphers, codes.
First Zodiac and now 7. Pick an incredible David Fincher movie you want to pay homage to and go with it.
You should see this.
God damn, this movie just hit the I think you should come take a look at this trifecta.
He's wearing gloves.
And as you know, we can let any asshole into a crime scene as long as he's wearing gloves.
Then today I saw it, a single word on this ledger sitting on the desk beside me. Renewal.
The diary entry that Gordon reads does not deserve a you should see this moment. It has absolutely no revelations that we don't already know.
Maybe this is all coming to an end.
What is?
The Batman.
This is still not coming to an end anytime soon. Also, roll credits.
Riddler's asking for you. At Arkham.
The strange Gotham protocol of taking criminals straight to an asylum continues in this movie. Why is he not down at the nearest precinct being booked and held until he can be arraigned? Look, him saying this right after saying they'll remember both of us and saying it slowly like a reveal is a huge cheat. He could simply have said the name bluntly and out of the blue, and you could have still had Batman wonder if Riddler knew his real identity, but you f***ing cheated. You cheated and you had him say it in a way and at a time that makes it clear he knows who Batman is, because you somehow didn't trust Paul Dano and Robert Pattinson to play the emotions on their own without the stylistic trickery. Also, considering the resources Riddler's been able to use throughout the movie, it's kind of insane that he didn't figure it out. One of the biggest issues I have with villains like this is they don't do basic things like, I don't know, find where the bat signal is being projected and scope out the area, or see the numerous times when Batman went to the club across the street and find a way to tail him to see where he goes after missions. Batman went to Arkham to see Riddler, then went right back to Riddler's apartment after a 10-minute conversation, and all those cops are cleared out? All the evidence collection and the thousands of notebooks and all the fingerprinting, that's all done already? Is Arkham in California? As Batman and the guard cop come to a silent agreement and Batman goes back to detectiving, is there a reason why he's using a flashlight and not just turning the lights on?
Killing Mitchell with a friggin' carpet tool. Oh, my uncle's he's an installer.
Well, my father was a piano mover, so... Anyway, this is some serious luckbox shit here, where Batman goes back to investigate Riddler's apartment, and the one asshole who's guarding the place just happens to know what the murder weapon is used for when it's not murdering people. Here's where Riddler falls apart for me as a character. He was taking down the corrupt city leaders, because as an orphan, he saw them basically steal money intended for orphans and turn it into a crime slush fund. Awesome! Kinda f***ed up, but noble in intent. But here at the end, he's planned to drown as much of Gotham as he can, which turns him back into a cardboard cutout villain bent on maximum mayhem. Boo! Wow, I guess Edward knew he'd be taken to Arkham and he'd get a window seat to all the destruction he orchestrated. He really did plan for everything, didn't he?
Because then, it will be your turn You'll be there waiting.
Because getting into Madison Square Garden, I mean Gotham Square Garden, will be so easy on election night. There's no such thing as security, law, order, or common sense. The parts of the screen getting knocked out on this scoreboard show that these assholes can't aim for shit. I mean, are they hitting everything except Batman? Jesus Christ, even with good armor, this kind of direct hit could easily kill a kidney or a spleen or worse. But it's just a basic knockdown for our Batman. Boy, you know, it would be handy right now. That flying cape Batman used earlier in the movie. If you're gonna wait this long to take this shot, I'm already bored. Everyone has time for this.
I'm vengeance.
Oh man, that stings. I bet now Batman knows exactly how James Stewart felt in Rope. Sent off here for the movies finally showing Batman as a first responder, a role he has often played in the comics. It's weird to me that everyone's just gonna make the mayor-elect who just got shot a minute ago walk on her own power through this water.
Who are you? Well, that's the question. Isn't it?
I mean, he's the fucking Joker. The movie calls him Unseen Arkham Prisoner, and at one point the IMDb called him Officer Stanley Merkel, and it really fucked up a casual reference I made in the Green Knight video before the Batman came out. Anyway, here's a sin for fucking up my reference because I am that petty. Not sure this film needed to end on a Catwoman Batman scene, but regardless, these motorcycles go on for some time.
Pizza, pizza.
Thanks again to BetterHelp for sponsoring this episode. It's way too easy to forget to take care of your mental health. If you're feeling like you need to speak to someone, or you just need a mental health check-in, BetterHelp is an amazing online resource that allows you to do just that. Connect with a therapist in a safe and secure online environment, and no, this isn't self-help. This is a real connection with an actual human being. And you don't even have to put on outside pants to do it. Pajama bottoms or sweats are just fine with BetterHelp. I know it can be easier to receive counseling without the need to go into an unfamiliar environment. And it's not just structured appointments. You can send messages to your therapist anytime, check out information that's relevant to your needs, and book your next appointment all on the same page. BetterHelp is committed to facilitating great therapeutic matches, so they make it easy and free to change counselors if needed. Head to betterhelp.com/cinemasins to answer a few questions and get paired up with a therapist within 24 hours. Get a whole 10% off your first month by clicking that link. Join over 2 million people taking charge of their mental health. Again, that's BetterHelp, HELP.com/cinemasins.
I know what you are.
Say it out loud.
Vampire.
What makes you think I want to hear you talk? Tommy, how's the peeping? Tommy, how's the peeping? Tommy.
This isn't the Worthington 1000.
Forget it, kid. It's Chinatown.
Phone's ringing, dude.
Thank you, Donnie.
I hope you have a good day. I hope you have a better week. I hope your month is full of successful days and a lot of great ventures. I hope you just come up, brother.
I hope your whole year is spectacular.
Precious!
Detective! You're looking for me.
I'm Superman.